Sir, as letter of credit is mostly used in international trade, are there any international rules governing it? Good question. Please note that the International Chamber of Commerce Paris has codified the rules of the game for letter of credit. The document that codifies these rules and governs the operations of LC is called the Uniform Customs and Practice for Documentary Credit, or UCP in short. The latest version, which is in operation, was published on 1st of July 2007 and is referred as UCP 600. UCP rules are internationally recognized and well accepted all over the world to promote the smooth operations of international trade through LC. In addition to UCP 600, the ISBP, the International Standard Banking Practices, ISBP, for the examination of documents and documentary credits, UCP 600, and ICC publication complements the UCP. The latest version in operation is ISBP 745. The publication works as an essential guide with the preparation, presentation, and examination of documents under LC. ISBP 745 helps in interpretation of the rules under UCP 600 to avoid ambiguities and discrepancies in the LC issuance and utilization. Our journey to learn documentary letter of credit is substantially based on UCP 600 and ISBP 745, besides taking notes from real-life case studies, practical problems, and international practices. For the ease of learning, I have tried to avoid quoting text directly from the above two documents wherever possible. Instead, I will try to present the requirements in a learner-friendly manner. Documentary letter of credit is based on two basic principles: doctrine of strict compliance, payment only against complying presentation of documents as per LC terms; independence principle, obligation of an issuing bank to honor a presentation under an LC is independent of the underlying transaction or the contract between the parties. Every presentation under an LC is independent. We will discuss the above principles at length at a later stage. Parties involved in LC transaction. Following are the main parties involved in LC transaction: importer or buyer, bank of importer; exporter or seller, bank of exporter. The importer or buyer is the party which applies to the bank to open a letter of credit. It would be either purchasing goods or availing services. It is known as buyer, importer, or applicant. The bank of importer is the bank that opens the letter of credit on the request of the applicant or buyer. This bank is also called the opening bank, importer's bank, or issuing bank. The exporter or seller is the party which is entitled to receive the benefit under an LC. It is also known as beneficiary under LC. Bank of exporter is seller's or exporter's bank. It advises the beneficiary for LC at the request of issuing bank. It is called advising bank or notifying bank. Complete process in LC transaction. Let's see the complete process to get a better understanding of the role of parties. Sales contract is done between buyer and seller. The buyer applies for a letter of credit from its bank. The seller ships the goods to the importer. Seller sends the documents to the advising bank. The advising bank sends the documents to the issuing bank. The issuing bank will check the documents and send the payment to the advising bank. The advising bank sends the payment to the seller, that is the beneficiary under the LC. I hope the steps in the use of LC are clear to you.